Since the New York Times published its first explosive report about Harvey Weinstein, 32 women and counting have stepped forward with allegations about his sexual misconduct. Many of their allegations are similar. They say that Weinstein invited them to a private room, where he either asked for a naked massage or sexually assaulted them. The majority of the time, Weinstein's alleged targets were young, aspiring actresses, whom he reportedly preyed upon using his colleagues and his powerful title to cushion against any blowback. From Angelina Jolie to Rose McGowan to Cara Delevingne to Kate Beckinsale, here are the women who have told their stories thus far. This list will be updated if and when more women come forward. Sophie Dix. British actress Dix was 22 when Weinstein allegedly invited her to his room at the Savoy Hotel, ostensibly to watch footage from a film in which she was appearing. "As soon as I was in there, I realized it was a terrible mistake. I got to the hotel room, I remember talk of a massage and I thought that was pretty gross. I think he showed me his big back and I found that pretty horrid," she told The Guardian. "Then before I knew it, he started trying to pull my clothes off and pin me down and I just kept saying, no, no, no. But he was really forceful. I remember him pulling at my trousers and stuff and looming over me and I just I am a big, strong girl and I bolted, ran for the bathroom and locked the door. I was in there for a while, I think. He went very quiet. After a while I remember opening the door and seeing him just there facing the door, masturbating, so I quickly closed the door again and locked it. Then when I heard room service come to the door, I just ran." Florence Delle, French actress, told Le Parisien that Weinstein allegedly pursued her after his company bought the 1993 film Fausto, in which Daryl starred. In 1995, she says, Weinstein asked her to meet him at a suite in the Ritz, where he allegedly propositioned her. "Even though his wife at the time was in the next room, he started to tell me that he found me very attractive and wanted to have relations with me," Daryl said. "I told him I was very in love with my companion. He replied that didn't bother him at all and offered to have me be his mistress a few days a year. That way we could continue to work together. Basically, it was if you want to continue in America, you have to go through me. What could I do? Could I go to the police and say, this disgusting man made me an indecent proposal in his hotel room at the Ritz?" Daryl told People. "They would have laughed at me. Even when you are raped it is difficult to prove, and society, in many cases, puts the burden of proof on women." Claire Forlani, star of the Miramax movie Boys and Girls, alleges that she escaped Weinstein's advances 5 times. "I had 2 Peninsula Hotel meetings in the evening with Harvey and all I remember was I ducked, dived and ultimately got out of there without getting slobbered over, well, just a bit. Yes, massage was suggested," she wrote on Twitter. "The 3 dinners with Harvey, I don't really remember the time period. I was 25. I remember him telling me all the actresses who had slept with him and what he had done for them." Forlani also said that she declined to participate in Ronan Farrow's New Yorker story about Weinstein, which she now regrets. "Today I sit here feeling some shame, like I'm not a woman supporting other women. I just read Mira Sorvino's article in Time and she writes of how scared she was to speak out and participate. I take little solace in that." Kate Beckinsale was 17. She alleges she was invited to meet with Weinstein at the Savoy Hotel. Though she assumed the meeting would be in a conference room, she says she was sent to the producer's room instead. "He opened the door in his bathrobe," she wrote in an Instagram post. "I was incredibly naive and young and it did not cross my mind that this older, unattractive man would expect me to have any sexual interest in him. After declining alcohol and announcing that I had school in the morning, I left, uneasy but unscathed. A few years later he asked me if he had tried anything with me in that first meeting. I realized he couldn't remember if he had assaulted me or not." Beckinsale then recalls allegedly being propositioned by Weinstein many times over the years, some of which ended up with him screaming at me, calling me a cunt and making threats. Cara Delevingne, after meeting with Weinstein and a director in a hotel lobby to discuss a movie role, "Harvey asked me to stay and chat with him," Delevingne wrote in a statement shared on Twitter. "As soon as we were alone he began to brag about all the actresses he had slept with and how he had made their careers and spoke about other inappropriate things of a sexual nature. He then invited me to his room. I quickly declined and asked his assistant if my car was outside. She said it wasn't and wouldn't before a bit and I should go to his room. At that moment I felt very powerless and scared, but didn't want to act that way, hoping that I was wrong about the situation. When I arrived, I was relieved to find another woman in his room and thought immediately I was safe. He asked us to kiss and she began some sort of advances upon his direction. I swiftly got up. I said again that I had to leave. He walked me to the door and stood in front of it and tried to kiss me on the lips. I stopped him and managed to get out of the room. ЛИКE Sadix invited me to come to his hotel room for a drink. We went up together. It was hard to say no because he's so powerful. All the girls are scared of him. Soon, his assistant left and it was just the two of us. That's the moment where he started losing control, the French actress wrote in The Guardian. We were talking on the sofa, Seydoux alleges, when he suddenly jumped on me and tried to kiss me. I had to defend myself. He's big and fat, so I had to be forceful to resist him. I left his room, thoroughly disgusted. I wasn't afraid of him, though, because I knew what kind of man he was all along. Gwyneth Paltrow, after casting the actress in Emma, Weinstein allegedly asked Paltrow to meet with him in a suite at the Peninsula Beverly Hills, where she says he put his hands on her and suggested they head to the bedroom for massages, according to the New York Times. I was a kid, I was signed up, I was petrified, says Paltrow. Video Hollywood responds to Weinstein allegations. Angelina Jolie had a bad experience with Harvey Weinstein in my youth, and as a result, chose never to work with him again and warned others when they did, Jolie told the New York Times. This behavior towards women in any field, any country is unacceptable. Ashley Judd 20 years ago, says Judd, Weinstein invited her to a breakfast meeting at the Peninsula Beverly Hills Hotel though she thought they would be meeting somewhere public. Weinstein allegedly invited her to his suite, where she found Weinstein wearing a bathrobe. She says he then asked if he could give her a massage or if she could watch him take a shower. I said no, a lot of ways, a lot of times, and he always came back at me with some new ask, Judd told The Times. It was all this bargaining, this coercive bargaining. In 2015, she first described the alleged incident without naming Weinstein. He was very stealth and expert about it, Judd told Variety. He groomed me, which is a technical term. Oh, come meet at the hotel for something to eat. Fine, I show up. Oh, he's actually in his room. I'm like, are you kidding me? I just worked all night. I'm just going to order cereal. It went on in these stages. It was so disgusting. He physically lured me by saying, oh, help me pick out what I'm going to wear. There was a lot that happened between the point of entry and the bargaining. There was this whole process of bargaining, come to this, come to this, come to this. And I would say, no, no, no. I have a feeling if this is online and people have the opportunity to post comments, a lot of the people will say, why didn't you leave the room, which is victim blaming. When I kept saying no to everything, there was a huge asymmetry of power and control in that room. Rose McGowan. In 2016, McGowan alleged on Twitter that she had been raped by a studio executive years ago, one whose lecherous behavior was an open secret in Hollywood media. In a BuzzFeed interview, McGowan also discussed an unnamed serial predator in the industry. Though the actress has not explicitly spoken about having an abusive encounter with Weinstein, and has not formally and by name accused him of being a serial predator, the First Times report about Weinstein alleges that the producer paid McGowan a settlement in 1997, and since the scandal went public, McGowan has tweeted numerous times about the Weinstein allegations, asking if the public can now call Weinstein a rapist. On Twitter Tuesday, McGowan also shared audio obtained by The New Yorker of Weinstein admitting to groping model Ambra Batalana Gutierrez while reposting the clip. McGowan added, now imagine his huge size, his monster face body closing in on you. In 1 second your life path is not yours. You have been stolen. Heather Graham. In the early 2000s, Harvey Weinstein called me into his office, Graham wrote in Variety. There was a pile of scripts sitting on his desk. I want to put you in one of my movies, he said, and offered to let me choose which one I liked best. Later in the conversation, he mentioned that he had an agreement with his wife. He could sleep with whomever he wanted when he was out of town. I walked out of the meeting feeling uneasy. There was no explicit mention that to star in one of those films I had to sleep with him, but the subtext was there. A few weeks later, I was asked to do a follow-up meeting at his hotel. I called one of my actress friends to explain my discomfort with the situation, and she offered to come with me. En route, she called me to say she couldn't make it. Not wanting to be at the hotel alone with him, I made up an excuse. I had an early morning and would have to postpone. Harvey told me that my actress friend was already at his hotel and that both of them would be very disappointed if I didn't show. I knew he was lying, so I politely and apologetically reiterated that I could no longer come by. Tomayan Roberts says that Weinstein, who used to come to the restaurant where she worked in her 20s, asked her to meet him at his hotel to discuss a movie part. Upon arriving, Roberts told The Times, she found a naked Weinstein in the bathtub, where he allegedly told Roberts that she would give a much better audition if she were comfortable getting naked in front of him, too, because the character she might play would have a topless scene. Rosanna Arquette says that Weinstein asked her to come to his room at the Beverly Hills Hotel to pick up a script. There, she told The Times, he greeted her in a bathrobe and asked her for a massage. Then he grabbed my hand, Arquette told The New Yorker, and pulled it toward his erect penis, before allegedly bragging about a pair of famous women he had previously slept with. Arquette remembers saying, "I'm not that girl, I will never be that girl," as she left the room. Catherine Kendall, an actress, says Weinstein invited her to a screening, then brought her to his apartment, where he allegedly changed into a bathrobe and asked for a massage. When she declined, he left and returned without the robe. "He literally chased me," she told The Times. "He wouldn't let me pass him to get to the door. I just thought to myself, I can't believe you're doing this to me. I'm so offended. We just had a meeting." Judith Godrèche, a French actress, says that following a meeting at the Cannes Film Festival, Weinstein invited her to his suite at the Hotel du Cap Eden-Rock, where he allegedly asked to give her a massage. "The next thing I know, he's pressing against me and pulling off my sweater," she told The Times. Godrèche then left the suite. Dawn Dunning, costume designer Dunning, says that Weinstein offered her a screen test before inviting her to a meal upon arriving at the restaurant. She says, Dunning was told that Mr. Weinstein's earlier meeting was running late, so she should head up to his suite, according to The Times. There, Dunning found a bathrobe-clad Weinstein, who allegedly offered her contracts for 3 films on the condition that she have three-way sex with him. "You'll never make it in this business," she says he replied when she laughed in response. "This is how the business works." Emily Nestor was allegedly harassed while working as a temp for Weinstein. According to The Times, Weinstein invited Nestor to his hotel room at the Peninsula Beverly Hills, where he allegedly bragged about sleeping with famous actresses and badgered her into giving him a massage. "The meeting was the most excruciating and uncomfortable hour of my life," Nestor told The New Yorker. He said, "Do you know, we could have a lot of fun. I could put you in my London office, and you could work there and you could be my girlfriend." Nestor said Weinstein also told her that he had never had to do anything like Bill Cosby, apparently meaning that he hadn't had to drug any women. Weinstein Company employee Lauren O'Connor later detailed Weinstein's alleged harassment of Nestor in an internal memo obtained by The Times. "There is a toxic environment for women at this company," O'Connor wrote, saying that Weinstein and Nestor's alleged encounter left the young woman crying and very distraught. Laura Madden, former Weinstein Company employee Madden, told The Times that Weinstein asked for massages on more than one occasion. "It was so manipulative. You constantly question yourself, am I the one who is the problem?" Zelda Perkins, London Weinstein assistant Perkins allegedly confronted her boss in 1998, saying that she would initiate legal action or go public if he did not change his inappropriate behavior, according to The Times. A Miramax lawyer allegedly negotiated a settlement with her. She declined to comment on Weinstein or her work at Miramax for The Times. Ambra Battilana Gutierrez, Italian model Gutierrez, is one of the few Weinstein accuses to publicly seek legal action. In 2015, she told New York authorities that Weinstein had groped her breasts and tried to put his hand up her skirt during a meeting in his Tribeca office. Police then gave Gutierrez a wire to wear so that she could attempt to wring a confession or incriminating comments from Weinstein during a subsequent meeting. In the resulting audio, obtained by The New Yorker, Weinstein can be heard admitting that he groped her as he tries to cajole Gutierrez into coming into his hotel room. "Oh, please, I'm sorry, just come on in," says Weinstein. "I'm used to that. Come on. Please. I won't do it again." Manhattan's district attorney's office ultimately declined to file charges against Weinstein. Lucia Evans. In 2004, Evans was an aspiring actress who met Weinstein at the club Cipriani upstairs. She says he invited her to a meeting at his Miramax office in Tribeca. When she arrived, he was in the room alone, then allegedly forced her to perform oral sex on him. She told The New Yorker, "I said, over and over, I don't want to do this, stop, don't." I tried to get away, but maybe I didn't try hard enough. I didn't want to kick him or fight him, she said. He's a big guy. He overpowered me. Asia Argento. 1997, actress and director Argento was invited to a Miramax party at the Hotel du Cap Eden Rock, on the French Riviera. When she arrived at the event, she says, the only people there were a producer and Weinstein. The producer then left, leaving Argento and Weinstein alone, and soon, she alleges, Weinstein was in a bathrobe holding a bottle of lotion. Argento told The New Yorker that Weinstein asked her for a massage at first. She refused. She eventually relented, and shortly afterward, he forced her legs apart, and performed oral sex on her as she repeatedly told him to stop, according to The New Yorker. Though it was a nightmare, said Argento, she maintained a relationship with Weinstein. For years I felt I had to, she said. When I see him, it makes me feel little and stupid and weak. After the rape, he won. Mira Sorvino, the actress, who starred in a string of Miramax movies in the 90s, told The New Yorker that in 1995, Weinstein was alone with her in a hotel room, and proceeded to massage her shoulders, which made her very uncomfortable. She alleges that he then chased her around the room. A few weeks later, says Sorvino, Weinstein abruptly showed up at her apartment in New York. After midnight, Sorvino says she told him her boyfriend was en route, a lie that persuaded Weinstein to leave. She believes that night negatively impacted her career. Definitely felt iced out, and that my rejection of Harvey had something to do with it. Emma de Cornes, a French actress, told The New Yorker that she went to a lunch meeting with Weinstein at the Ritz in Paris in 2010, to discuss a film adaptation of a book. She says that he claimed not to remember the book, then told her a copy of it was in his room, and asked her to go with him to get it. She eventually did. He then went into the bathroom and allegedly emerged nude and erect, telling her to lie down on the bed and adding that many other actresses have done it. De Cornes remembers being petrified and refusing. Though she says she left immediately, Weinstein allegedly called her relentlessly throughout the day, sending gifts and repeating that nothing had happened. Jessica Barr, the actress, says she met Weinstein for a business meeting at his suite at the Peninsula in 2011. Throughout their conversation, he alternated between offering to cast her in a film and demanding a naked massage in bed, per The New Yorker. When she tried to leave, she says, he barked that she should lose weight to compete with Mila Kunis, then gave her the number of a female executive. Lauren Sheventh, journalist, told the Huffington Post that 10 years ago, she met Weinstein at a dinner with friends and associates. After the meal, they all went to Socialista, a club and restaurant where Weinstein was an investor. Weinstein allegedly invited to take Sivan on a tour of the facility. According to her account, when they went down to the kitchen, Weinstein made the staff leave, then allegedly exposed himself in front of Sivan and started masturbating, preventing her from leaving until he had finished. I could not believe what I was witnessing. It was disgusting and kind of pathetic, really, Sivan told Megyn Kelly Monday on Today. But more than the disgusting act itself, which of course was gross, the demeaning part of it all, that just 20 minutes earlier, he was having this great conversation with me, and I felt so great and flattered by it. Romola Garai, in an interview with The Guardian, the actress said she had her own experience auditioning for Weinstein when she was 18 years old. After a formal tryout, she was told she had to be personally approved by him, Garai recalls. I had to go to his hotel room in the Savoy, and he answered the door in his bathrobe. I felt violated by it. It has stayed very clearly in my memory. The transaction was just that I was there. The point was that he could get a young woman to do that I didn't have a choice, that it was humiliating for me and that he had the power. Louisette Guy, screenwriter and actress Guice, alleged in a press conference Tuesday that Weinstein had masturbated in front of her without her consent. Guice said that Weinstein invited her to his office, adjacent to his hotel room, to discuss a script shared written. After about 30 minutes, he asked to excuse himself and go to the bathroom. He returned in nothing but a robe with the front open and he was buck naked, she continued. Weinstein allegedly then got into a bathtub and asked Guice to continue pitching her script. When I finished my pitch I was obviously nervous, and he just kept asking me to watch him masturbate, she said. I told him I was leaving. He quickly got out of the tub and grabbed my forearm as I was trying to grab my purse and led me to his bathroom, pleading that I just watch him masturbate. Guice is being represented by lawyer Gloria Allred, whose daughter, Lisa Bloom, worked as an advisor to Weinstein before resigning on Saturday. Sarah Ann Massimas, an actress, comedian, and writer, told Variety that in 2008, she was still an aspiring performer who worked as a nanny in New York City to support herself. She was asked to do an interview with Weinstein at his Connecticut home to babysit for his 3 children with former wife Eve Chilton. Weinstein allegedly answered the door in his undershirt and underwear and remained in that attire while he interviewed her. At the end, he gave me this really tight, close hug that lasted for quite a long period of time. Then he told me he loved me. I left right after that, she says. Liza Campbell, a writer and artist, wrote in the Times of London that in 1995, Weinstein called her out of the blue and invited her to meet with him about potential work in his hotel room. There, she alleges, he asked her to jump in the bath with him. Zoe Brock model Brock said in a Medium blog post that she was only 23 when High was harveyed in 1997, at the Cannes Film Festival. She claims that Weinstein took her to his suite at the Hotel du Cap Eden Rock with a few other people, who eventually left, leaving her alone with the producer. Harvey left the room, but not for long, she writes. He re-emerged naked a couple of minutes later and asked if I would give him a massage. Panicking, in shock, I remember weighing up the options and wondering how much I needed to placate him to keep myself safe. He asked if I would like a massage instead, and for a second I thought this might be a way to give him an inch without him taking a mile. Eventually, she says, he dressed, and she left the suite when an assistant arrived. I'm so sorry, Brock says the assistant told her. I want you to know that of all the girls he does this to, you are the one I really felt bad about. You deserve better. Louise Godbold, who directs a non-profit, wrote in a blog post that in the early 90s, Weinstein allegedly took her on an office tour that became an occasion to trap me in an empty meeting room. Before Weinstein asked her for a massage, his hands on my shoulders as I attempted to beat a retreat, all while not wanting to alienate the most powerful man in Hollywood. Get Vanity Fair's HWD newsletter, sign up for essential industry and award news from Hollywood.